Let's take you on a time jump, virtual zoom, bringing it back to Theodore's bedroom. These hands are passionately polysyllabic, putting the Jeopardy theme on swings. 10 dons giving predictions, balancing vibes like the sons and daughters of Ipwan. Ear to the underground, flicking off. Peppermint, fresh experiment, let's go. El Premier Elemento, you gotta take your time, press your fingers to the line. Red man, focus your mind. And once you do that, you're at the front of the combine.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Max Gibbons. Welcome back to the Street Art Summer Class, session number 2. Depending on when you're viewing this, if it's live, thanks for joining. And if you're watching a recording of this, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Hope we can dive a little bit deeper today into sticker art specifically, talk about stickers and graffiti art and their use in the culture. And I'm going to be sharing my screen momentarily and then walking you through some slides. All right, so today, as you can see, second class. And again, I encourage anybody who's joining, if you are live today, feel free to use that chat function or hop on video if possible. I'll be able to see comments and questions as you provide them. So I'm happy to answer any questions as they come up. Today, we're going to be talking about specifically sticker graffiti and the use of these US Postal Service labels. So you can see an example right there on the slide. So really quickly, today's goals, we're going to be talking about the history of the use of these very specific types of stickers. Focus on the most widely used and most widely accessible sticker. It's one of the best street art methods that artists have used for decades now. These free stickers that they repurpose from the United States Postal Service, UPS, DHL, and others. We'll also be talking about how to use some of these stickers and your designs on the stickers. Use the space well. Think about how you can get your message or your character or whatever artwork you want to get out there. And also talk about some quote-unquote homework, right? Some assignments for you as students to bring to these lessons. And also some really awesome activities if you're watching this on live again on today's date, or if you're watching this at least before Saturday of this weekend. We're talking about a really cool event that's coming up. Want to encourage all the students, as I share this slide again, to attend this artist talk that is actually happening this weekend. So if you're in the Washington, D.C. area, this weekend at the Fridge Gallery, which is near the Eastern Market area, 2 artists there, I Will Not and Cheer Up, will be giving a talk. I Will Not has hosted the DC Street Sticker Expo for a couple years now. It's, I believe, the world's largest sticker expo of its type. They've curated stickers from thousands of artists from all over the world to send in their artwork for free, and then they put them all over the walls of this gallery. So this is actually one of the closing weekends of the gallery. You could always go on their Instagram of the Fridge or message I Will Not on Instagram as well. But this is a great event. You can learn more about stickers, buy zines, which is really cool, do sticker trades, and also see the exhibit in person if you're willing and able and safe to do so. They've also digitized a lot of this exhibit currently. They went through with a camera and they did like a 3D walkthrough. So if you're unable to attend or you'd like to do that, you can find that online as well. And you can zoom in on different stickers and see the artwork from different people. As you can see in this image, Cheer Up is a sticker artist who uses that image of like a sad clown, usually black and white with some accent color. Really cool use of printed stickers. And the gallery actually looks like this right now. So we talk about quote unquote sticker bombing, right? Covering an area with stickers, getting your name out there. I know it's a hard kind of picture to zoom in on and see, but this mosaic of stickers from thousands of different artists from all across the world, it's a really cool and unique experience. And it also goes to show some of the culture around sticker creation and trading, right? Of, you can create your sticker at home, draw or write or create or paint anything that you could do onto a piece of paper, essentially onto your sticker. If you're using printed stickers, you can create the image digitally and get it printed. And then you can go out and you can put it on objects. You can also mail it to other people around the world, trade, and get your artwork out there. So it's a really cool and unique opportunity. Highly recommend it. Oh, great. Olivia, I see saying that's incredible. Yeah, it's a really cool exhibit. Once again, here's the information. And you can also find this information, excuse me, on Instagram and online. So highly recommend visiting if you're able to this weekend. And if you're watching this in the future, I'm sure there's lots of information online and you can still do that virtual walkthrough. Again, grounding ourselves in some of the teachings of last week. And I see, yeah, so Andy's saying the stickers, right? You can really make them as colorful or as monotone as you want, image-based, text-based, totally up to you as an artist. It's really cool. And again, that's what we're talking about. Like, what is street art? So it's your ability as an artist to take your artwork and put it in a public setting for public consumption. Again, rooted in graffiti and quote unquote vandalism models of, putting it out there on other people's property and maybe something that you don't own. But really trying to beautify an area. A lot of street artists don't take the gritty or text-based approach that a lot of graffiti writers do, where it's usually for and by graffiti writers in the community, maybe a little bit harder to access as a member of the general public. But what we'll talk about a little bit further today is sticker graffiti and stickers used as street art can be a lot more accessible, especially if you're using character-based artwork. It's also a lot easier for someone to identify your art. So if they see an icon that you've created or a character, that might be easier for them to notice than a tag that they might have harder time deciphering or designating from other tags that they might see on the street as well. I really love this quote from Martha Cooper. Martha Cooper is a long time photographer of street artwork, whether that was graffiti back in the 70s and 80s, with the seminal work Subway Art. She's been photographing graffiti forever. And I love this quote. For me, looking for stickers is an ongoing treasure hunt, increasing my pleasure as I walk around cities. I do this too. I can throw a podcast on or throw some music on, and I just love walking around here in Brooklyn or when I'm in any new city and just looking at the artwork from the large murals all the way down to the smallest sticker. And it's actually incredible to see how what was considered vandalism, right? Maybe these stickers or those tags is now considered to be fine art, right? A lot of these artists make full careers out of their design work, out of their artwork, out of their lettering. Artists like Shepard Fairey, for example, are now in the National Portrait Gallery. Artists like Cause have month-long exhibits at the Brooklyn Museum. There's many artists who've made the jump, or at least continue to merge those lines between their street practice and their gallery work or their studio practice. So always something interesting to think about. And I'll actually be talking about Martha Cooper a little bit later because she has an entire book about postal stickers specifically. Andy, I see what you're saying. Yeah, always on the lookout. Honestly, any newspaper box, back of a sign, electrical boxes, any flat surface, oftentimes, if you are in an urban environment, you'll probably see one or two stickers or tags if you really start to keep your eye out. So today we're going to be talking specifically about the use of postal labels. It's actually become such an amazing and integral part of American graffiti over the past few decades. There are European and graffiti writers in other parts of the world, whether it's Africa, South America, wherever, that actually go out of their way to either emulate these designs or actually trade with writers based in the United States to get these postal labels that people can get for free from the post office because they're so iconic in graffiti. If we look to these two labels on the slide, you can see there's different designs. And the design of the label that we're looking at, it's called the 228 label. It's a priority mail label that is used to indicate that a package or a letter is priority mail. And they are free at post offices. And that's why a lot of graffiti writers and street artists gravitated to them in the beginning because being a street artist or being a graffiti writer doesn't necessarily, mean that you're making money off that artwork specifically because you're putting it out there in the streets for free for people to see and for you to get your name or your character out there. So these labels are free and they often have a lot of white space, which allows that blank canvas to be used. The label on your left that you're seeing is the newest iteration of these priority mail labels. It was released in March of 2016. And it has a lot more white space on it than some of the traditional smaller priority mail labels. I'm not entirely sure if the United States Postal Service has caught on to the use of their equipment or their supplies within the graffiti community, or how important it actually is in this community. This is a vertical sticker rather than the traditional horizontal ones. It has a much larger to and from section that you can kind of see in that white space, and then it's kind of unintentionally given a lot of street artists and graffiti writers this canvas to use on this adhesive material. The one on the right-hand side you can see is an older model from 2008, and you can see a lot of the space is taken up with branding, with even some of that watermark that says priority mail. So it actually was harder for graffiti writers to use that space. Some people will cut the label, they'll cut out so they only use the white space. Some will use the whole label, some will combine multiple labels to make bigger canvases. It really depends on the artist and depends on your use of these. Again, I don't encourage anyone to go out and take these from the US Postal Service and use them for graffiti or street art methods, but it is a practice that street artists and graffiti writers have been doing for decades now. I want to also show another example of these priority mail labels. So this is an older one. It's from 1995. And just like people collect stamps or comic books or anything like that, people in these communities also collect these old labels. I have a collection myself, and I'll show you a few of these, what they look like in real life after I'm done presenting on the slide deck. But it's almost like a holy grail to get these really old labels. And you can see how the design has changed over time. I really like this one with the to and from spaces, and it has that huge white space for you to do a tag or a character or a throw or a piece. And you can really see how they've kind of developed over the years. I know I'm being hyper focused on this specific type of label for today's lesson, but it's actually incredibly interesting to see how the design has changed over the years and how graffiti writers and street artists have changed their designs to fit with the times. So the one on the top left here, and then on the top right, those are called blue tops. You can kind of see the reasons why. They have a large blue line across the top. And the one on the left, you can see as lacking the watermark of those priority mail kind of going in a diagonal fashion than the one on the right-hand side. So it's easier for a graffiti writer or street artist to put their image on there without having to compete with all that extra text. And you can kind of see how the design has changed over the years. The one on the left is, I believe, from 2008 on the bottom, and the one on the right, I believe, is from 2013, but I'm unsure. I'll have to check later. You can see how the priority mail logo has changed over the years. It's a really cool piece of postal ephemera. And like I was saying, the same way that people collect stamps, which I also have a decent stamp collection, the first day issued letters and stamps, the first day that a new stamp is released, or different cancellations on stamps. People also collect these labels too, and graffiti writers will go out of their way to trade these old labels to do different types of artwork on these labels. So it's pretty cool. It's a really unique and sub part of this subculture of stickers and generally used by graffiti writers. You might be able to kind of see, I also have some on my wall over here. I have some that I've framed from different people that I've respected. And then I've gotten to tag at different gallery shows and trade with different graffiti writers. And it's really cool too, because even though the US Postal Service might not recognize this illicit use of their materials, they have recognized hip hop, which I think is really interesting. So this is a stamp series. I actually have a bunch here in my desk, and I'll use them when I send different letters. But these are forever stamps that you can go and purchase from the US Postal Service. And they highlight and recognize the 4 pillars of hip hop. So you've got MCing, b-boying, DJing, and of course, what we're talking about here in class, graffiti art and street art. So I thought that was a really unique thing to highlight. I really think it's fantastic that they've done this. And I just wanted to show you. Additionally, now I want to show you, we were going over some of those blank labels and really think through how graffiti artists are using the space that they're provided. This is a very rare label that I'm showing you. It's actually from the collection of a graffiti writer named Nover, who is a graffiti writer, and they also use it. But you can see the tag here is Sane Smith. It's a priority mail label from a while ago, 1992, so it's very old. But I just wanted to show how a graffiti writer or street artist can do their tag, right, their stylized signature with marker or spray paint or brush or whatever it might be on a wall, but they can also use that same hand style, that same application of their moniker here on a label. Additionally, here's some further examples, and I really love this photograph because it shows the differences in the postal labels that have come out over the years, and how graffiti writers have used this exact same blank canvas to do different types of art. So here on this side, this is actually that artist who I was just talking about, their collection Nober. They've turned the label sideways and they've used the white space here. What I really like about the N of the tag is that they then outlined it in white, so it really shows up over that blue label. This artist chose to write their name in a very stylized fashion. This is base, really hard to read if you're not familiar, but really unique style. Again, a more traditional tag here. And then here, this artist, Lush, flipped the label upside down, so you can read the L-U-S-H. So your eye is more likely to read the tag than the priority mail labeling here. This is a blank label by Renos, R-E-N-O, and there's a stylized S here, and then they wrote Oneer, as if they're the first, right, the one of that name. And this is a blank thermal label that people can usually get from UPS stores. So UPS in their shipping uses these thermal labels where the heat printer then uses heat to put shipping information. So these are white blank labels that offer a little bit more of a blank canvas than these postal labels. Traditionally, they are a little bit less adhesive, and for graffiti writers who are using hundreds or thousands of stickers, they really get to know their supplies and their materials. So they start to focus on, okay, I'm going to use a thermal label if I'm going to be putting it up on this, or I'm going to be using a postal label if I'm going to be putting it on this. I'll be using an eggshell label, which is a destructible vinyl that is really hard to remove. I'm doing something else. Again, these are the same label here, those priority mail labels. This artist chose to do a tag that went off the sides a little bit, which I think is really interesting. And this artist chose to do a tag and then outline it and use two different colors. So again, these are just tags on labels, but it's really interesting to see how different artists use the same canvas to get their name out there and get their point across. This would be, as we were talking about some of the terminology that we're going to be referring to in class last session, this would be a throw or a fill-in on the label. So again, this artist turned it upside down, so you're not as likely to try to, at first glance, read the lettering or the wording on the label itself. And then they have this stylized DI with an exclamation point. So this is Diego. They got 127 up here with their name, and TFP, which is their crew or their group of affiliated graffiti writers or street artists. So now we've talked about tags on labels. We've talked about throws or fill-ins on labels, right? But once again, this is a piece of paper, so you can really take as much time as you want when you're at home in the comfort of your bedroom or office or wherever to really draw on this label for as long as you want to. So this is the same, again, postal label, that blue 228 from, I believe, 1996, or maybe 2006. But this artist, T-Kid, drew this piece. So you got the T, the K, there's an I with a bomb as the dot, which I think is really unique. And then this is an uppercase D over here. I think, it's amazing that these artists are taking this object and repurposing it for an artistic way other than what it was intended for, which is just mailing packages. You can go to any post office and get these labels. You can go online and order them. And it's amazing to see the way that artists really use their style and their approach to use these labels. I love this label a lot. You can see the time and effort that went into doing this on such a small scale too, and such an ephemeral way of creating artwork, because then the sticker won't last forever. You're going to go out and put it on something and it could get rained on, somebody could peel it off, it can get painted over, a million things could happen to it. So I think it's a really unique and extremely ephemeral way of getting artwork out there into the public. Like I was saying before, some artists will combine the stickers together to make a larger canvas. So these are two of those tall, currently available 2016 issue priority mail labels. They're stick together. And you can see this artist cope. So this is a C, an O, a stylized P with an arrow coming off of it, and then an E right here. They also did their tag up here, so Cope 2, KD for King's Destroy, which is their crew, and then a few of their other crews shouted out on the tops and bottoms of their sticker. So again, when you're drawing, take your time. A lot of times when graffiti writers and street artists are doing their work in the street, there's that pressure of getting caught, right? There's the pressure of putting your artwork on someone else's property if you don't have permission and having to do it very quickly and then get away. But if you're making a sticker, you have all the time in the world. Put on a podcast, put on your music, sit down, take your time. You can see that this artist really chose, different colors and different markers. Even the outline is a different color here. So very unique, very cool. That being said, we've looked at a lot of text-based use of these stickers. So I do want to show some other examples. For example, let's see when this loads. This is that artist T-Kid that we were looking at earlier. And instead of an I, they put a character here, which I think is really cool. And this is an extremely simple but extremely impactful sticker on the right from an artist named Reusser. It's multimedia, right? So you've got the paper adhesive sticker, this older label from 2006, or 2008. They did a heart with what looks like acrylic or some type of paint, and then they used a paint marker to do this awesome face over it. And seeing that stuck to the side of what looks like a green U.S. Postal mailbox, it's really interesting, right? You're using the mailbox as a canvas, you're using the sticker as a canvas. And I really like this picture because it's in the rain, so it's weathering some elements, extremely ephemeral, it won't be there forever, but the heart is happy, it's hanging out. So it really goes to show when you're making your artwork and you're finding your style as an artist, you can be extremely complicated and take an hour, 2 hours, whatever it might be to make a sticker like the one on the left, or you can make a sticker like the one on the right. It's really up to you as an artist to find your style, to express yourself, and to use this awesome way to get your artwork out there in the world. I do have some more examples of these more character-based stickers. Really love this one. It's this snail in a business suit with a cool mustache. The artist crossed out the priority male and wrote snail. So once again, a little bit of humor involved. I really enjoy when street artists take that humorous approach and they are putting artwork out into the public that'll make someone's day brighter. Like if I saw this while I was waiting for the bus, or I saw this on my walk home from work, I would smile, maybe take a picture like the photographer did here. It says, I'm not a person, but I'm still a VIP. Just a cute little message. I like that a lot. Like we've talked about in earlier classes as well, a lot of street artists and graffiti writers are collaborating with one another. They're trading stickers with one another. They're going out and painting together. And something that a lot of people do with their stickers is they'll use half of the space and then mail it to someone else who can then do some artwork on the other side, and then that person can put it up in their city. So even though I've never been to, Philadelphia, I could contact a graffiti writer, an artist, or a street artist, Philadelphia. What is on the bottom right label? I wonder which label that was in reference to. I'm sorry that I didn't get to that earlier, but I can explain it if we get an additional question, so I will. But for this one, for example, this artist, Robots Will Kill. So their logo, their character is this robot, right? So they drew their half, of the sticker, mailed it or sent it or traded it to the artist on the left, who goes by Dave, who did this little, shape with two eyes, which I think is really cool. And then, that person or that artist can then put it somewhere else, which is really cool. So I think it's a really awesome way for you to trade art with other people, get it out into other cities, and also, make friendships, make connections with other artists. It's a really awesome thing. Going to the next slide. Once again, talking about how these labels are so ingrained in like American graffiti culture and graffiti culture at large. This sticker on the left, I love to show this. This is a artist out of New York named JL. And what they've done is they've actually scanned a priority mail label into their computer, and then they've adjusted it. They've changed it. So where it would usually say label 228 with the year here. They said we are 228, which is like their thing. They're JL 2018 for the year. So this might be painted or this might be drawn. So they have a custom label that looks like a Priority Mail label, but you know, it looks like this character here has buffed or whitewashed this wall that once had a mural on it of the Pink Panther. So it's interacting with the medium, it's interacting with the stickers. They're an incredible artist that actually does this a lot. They'll make custom labels of their own that look like Priority Mail labels. On the right-hand side, you can see this. It's called WTF Permanent Stickers. Like I was saying, this is a company that's associated with the graffiti brand Montana that makes more permanent stickers than the ones that you would usually see from a post office that are paper-based. These are actually vinyl. They're destructible vinyl. And when someone tries to peel them off, they come off in little chunks. It's extremely hard to get these stickers removed. But this design looks like one of those blue top labels of the post office. So now people are actually paying to get stickers that look like the stickers that they could get for free from the post office, but these are more permanent. I see in the chat Andy saying that you like the idea of artists trading or sending the stickers to one another. Yeah, again, right? So you take your time to do your sticker in the way that you want to. You can send it to somebody else, they could do it, and then they can put it up and send you a picture of, you've never been to that city, you didn't put your sticker up, but now your artwork has traveled hundreds or thousands of miles and is now in a new location that somebody took the time to put there, and it's reaching a new audience, which I think is really unique. Last but not least, or at least one of the last slides that I have before we start drawing, is this demonstration. So these are two sticker artists that work together a lot. Again, this is on a label that looks like one of those labels, the Priority Mail labels. So instead of the Priority Mail logo up here, they put a different logo and text for their crew that they're members of. Instead of saying Priority Mail, blah, 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 they've said purveyors of sticky goodness because they're sticker-based artists. This artist on the left is Question Josh. This one on the right is El Toro with this icon of a bull character, which I really love. These are artists where they don't necessarily have to write their tag here, but if you saw them and you're familiar with their work, then you would be able to recognize it from a distance. Really like these, the use of the color here. They both chose green, so the characters seem like they should be together. It's a really cool approach. Really like that. And lastly, I'll show the importance, as Andy was kind of saying, of like those collaborations, right? So the two stickers kind of interacting. This guy's like kind of like nudging him on the shoulder, like, hey, kind of got something to tell you, maybe. And El Toro has the angry eyes. Maybe he's not listening. You can kind of infer what the artists are trying to say, or maybe what the characters are trying to interact with each other. So I think it's really cool. And lastly, if you're super interested in stickers specifically, I know we're focusing on them during this entire summer session, but there is a short documentary series on YouTube that I'd love to show just a few seconds of. It's available online. It showcases sticker graffiti and how different artists have really approached this medium to put their artwork out on the streets. Again, for these artists and for graffiti writers and street artists, there's no real better satisfaction than putting your artwork out there and knowing that it's out there and that other people can see it and interact with it. So, as soon as these stickers leave the hand of the person who created them, they kind of take on a life of their own, right? They live in the public. You can send them to other places. People can rip it down, or they can leave it up, or they can take it home and put it in their book and keep it, or take a picture of it. It's really awesome to be able to see different stickers from different people. And if you're trading with other artists, to be able to collect them, right? I have a decent sticker collection of artists that I've traded with and I respect, or you can buy sticker packs from them, whatever that might be. So I'll just play a few seconds of this before we go into the drawing portion of today's lesson.
Everyone loves stickers. You can hand a kid from 7-year-old to a 70-year-old, and they're gonna love a sticker.
And it's just a little piece of paper with some sticky stuff on the back, boom, but you can reach a lot of people.
Stickers is like a mini canvas. You get to put what you want into it, and then you get to put it out there for them to see.
All right, so that is that. I will stop sharing my screen. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. And if you're looking for that documentary on YouTube as well, it's called Stick It Up. And I can link to that if anyone's interested as well. So now I'm gonna dial in on my phone momentarily, and then I'll start sharing that screen with my hands so we can get to the drawing portion of today's lesson. We got about a half hour left. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will start to set this up now. I know it's a hyper focused on this type of art, but I do appreciate the interest. Okay, just give me 1 second as I adjust. That's the fun of okay, just give me 1 second. All right, here we are. I'll just adjust this so you're looking more at the paper. All right, there we go. Let me know if you can hear me okay. There's a little bit of feedback from the camera. I'll try to stop shaking the camera as well. I do want to show you, oh yeah, and my cat's hanging out in the background if you can see her sleeping. All right, move this paper over. Let's see the camera angles. So here are some of the labels that I was talking about earlier. You've got these, oh, you know what? Let me see if I can adjust this. So you can see this a little more clearly. Okay, that's better. All right, so here's the most recent label available at the post office. So you can see the size here and the amount of white space that's available. That's what we're going to be actually drawing on today. And the difference compared to what was available earlier, which is the 2013 version. So actually, let me mute myself here. Okay. So totally different size. You know, the white space here, and this one had that watermark, which made it a lot harder to get your image across here. Now with this label, a lot more white space available for artists to use, whether they want to cut this off or just use this entire white canvas that's available. You can kind of see the difference there. Before that, the difference, similar labels, but different design work. This priority label is from 2000. It was kind of cool to see. Oh, thank you. That works a lot better. I want to turn down that. Okay, perfect. And so you can see the difference here with those watermarks again. Cool thing about some of these labels too, sometimes they do have this like printer quality. And this is the same label from 2008, but it's just a slightly bigger that allowed graffiti writers to have just a slightly more room to do their artwork on. So people would go out of their way to get these types of labels. Again, here are some of those blue tops and the evolution of them over time. So this is one from 2001. I really like this because look at all of that space, even compared to the one available now. It's a lot bigger, and it has a ton of white space that a lot of writers are really looking forward to using. And then these are some of the older labels. This is from 2004, same size as that 2001, but it has this watermark that you can see, this priority mail. And they actually shrunk this a couple of years later in 2006 for this label. Anyway, I know I'm nerding out over labels specifically, but I really love these. I love collecting them. I love how you can see how they've changed over time and how different people use them. So if you remember last week, or if you're tuning in 2 weeks in a row, one of the attendees last week was named Hope, and they asked me to draw a character and a sticker. So I did this one with this little icon, and I really like it. So I was looking at this, and I thought, you know what, I want to keep going with this design. So I think today we can focus on what it would be like to build upon this character, and to do so on this type of label. So thinking about the sun with a smiley face, you know, what would that look like? How would you use this space for your character? And maybe we can name it, or maybe if anybody in the chat wants me to write your name or do different tags or show you the use of these different labels, we could do so. So thinking about this character again, I would start with a simple shape for the body. So let's go with maybe, you know, a large circle for that kind of like body of the sun look. Might be going a little fast today, but you know, I think that works. You know, could color it in if I wanted to. And then to make those rays, I'll kind of give it like 5 points, let's say. Now, the fun thing about your characters and about these stickers, again, is that if you have a character that you're building off of and you got that base to it, you can, you know, customize them however you want. So I've got this kind of shape, I've got that logo, and maybe I can do, you know, some kind of outline. And you get to listen to the awesome sounds of a Sharpie on paper. So you can't, I mean, it looks, you know, maybe it looks like a sun, maybe it doesn't. And that's where the customization comes in. So I can kind of give him maybe some legs, bring that up. Give him some feet. So it kind of looks like a character. You know, maybe give him a little arm on his hip. Color this in. Not getting too detailed on any of the appendages because it is, you know, kind of like a cartoon character, right? So you're not drawing super detailed stuff. But once again, you're the artist. You can do anything you want. This is just how I'm approaching this character. And maybe, you know, bring his hand over here and give him a spray paint can. So there you go. Do something like that. And then I'll get another color. Let's go with a little bit of green. So you've got your character, and then we'll give them some face. So again, depending on, you know, what you want to do, I'll move this over for a second just to show you differences that I could do for this character right now. So I could do, you know, a set of glasses. So we could go maybe a simple shape like that. We could do, you know, like the 1970s and 60s, like circular, kind of like hippie glasses, and then obviously color these in. You could do, you know, boxes. You really do anything you want. And then for the mouth, you know, again, depending on what we want the character to be doing, a million ways to go about this. You could always add eyebrows. You could add, you know, something that looks like that, so they're surprised. You could add, you know, for the mouth, right? Fangs, or maybe he's full because he's got big cheeks, you know? So tons of different things that you could do. Putting eyes above here so you can kind of see what that would look like. So again, you know, take your time to experiment and practice, do whatever you want to do.
For us today, let's give this guy some cool circular sunglasses. So let's do this. And then color that in so you can really see that these are sunglasses. Kind of think it's funny that the sun is wearing sunglasses because he's so bright. So once again, being a little playful with those characters that you're making. Andy, I like that you like the different glasses. Yeah, so, you know, if I've got the body or the shape of the character, then I could change the glasses up depending on the one that I'm doing. It could be different colors, different shapes, different whatever. But I would keep, let's say, the background body, the circle with the 5 points the same. That way the character is consistent, regardless of whether it's got different sunglasses, you know, maybe he's got something else in his hand, maybe the hands are empty, but keeping a little bit of that consistency across your characters. So you've got that available. And you know what? I like that he's happy. We'll give him a little smile. Maybe some teeth. And now you got a cool little character who's doing graffiti. You know, similar but different than the one that we created last week. So just an idea of what you can do on these types of labels, you know, using all of that white space that's available. And even if you have some overlap up here, doesn't really matter because the focus is on the character, not on its original purpose. Additionally, if you wanted to, there are ways, you know, you could make, I don't know, the ground look more like it bleeds into this red line that's already there. So like I'll take a red marker and I'll just go over it here. So now your eye isn't necessarily looking at what's written, you're looking at some of that. I like these kind of like walking. Maybe I put some more spray paint cans down here to make it look like, you know, the sun character has done some graffiti and he's got some cans lying around. You know, keeping that little details there. And then another thing that a lot of graffiti writers will do sometimes is like put a background, so you could color that in if you wanted to, or you can leave it white. Something that I really like doing, something that's kind of easy, is putting clouds. So putting like a cloud shape and then putting a little bit of detail to make it look like there's some volume to it. And then taking, I'll just use the same marker color that they're using with the spray here, but then coloring the background. So it looks like the rest of what's on your quote unquote canvas is towards the front, and it gives a little bit of depth to the sticker. So you can see something like that. Of course, you could write then, you know, if you wanted to, you know, different things. So I'll put 2021, and then if this graffiti writer's name, you know, whatever it might be. So I'll do Andy, because Andy was in the chat, right? So there you go. Just an example of a sticker. While I've got you here on this view, I'll also show you the book that I was talking about earlier. So this is that book by Martha Cooper. It was printed early, I want to say 2009 or 10, but you can still find it available in different areas. Going Postal, which I think is a really clever take. You can see it looks like one of those blue top labels we were talking about earlier. It's a relatively small book, which is kind of cool, even compared to the size of the sticker that we just made. What I really like about this, it is a couple examples of, again, the way that different graffiti writers are using the same labels that we were just going over. Oh, perfect for summer with the icon. Yeah, thank you. So here's, you know, one of those blue top labels again that somebody used. Here's, you know, the same label, but you can see it's weathered. It's been left out. It's in the rain. Here's a whole page of just those blue labels that people get from the post office. But as you can see, tons of different people are using them in totally different ways, which is always interesting to see. So if you're interested, you know, here's one artist named Overconsume. Here they've got like a cartoony skull. This was when George Bush was still in office. So they're using a political statement with their character, so it's kind of fun. And here's the same character, same message, but in a totally different medium. Once again, same canvas of that blue postal label, with same skull with the same political message, but done in a totally different way here. So it's interesting to see how the artist used the same medium, same message, same skull icon, but two totally different ways of doing so. Love this book. Not a lot of text, but it does show how these labels have kind of permeated the graffiti culture. And it's also interesting because all of these blue top labels, the majority of which are used in this this book, like this one that you can see, are super hard to find now. So you can't even really find this type of label, which is, in this book, which I think is really interesting. So it's a snapshot of graffiti of the time, which I think is great. Since we did a label with a character, I'll do a label now with text and show how that would look, just because we do have some time. And then I might do one that's a little bit more complicated or a little more involved. So here I've got some more of these priority labels. They do come in, if you order them online or get them from the store, sometimes packs of labels, or you can get them like this. I do have some of the older ones still as well, which I like to collect. But anyway, yes, there are so many different styles in the book. And that's what's great too. There's so many different styles of graffiti and street artists that people create. So here are some of the labels. We'll start with this one. I'm going to turn it sideways with the 2 on top. That way I have this large white space to work with. So I will, again, since I'm going to be focusing on lettering right now rather than a character, I'll write Olivia because I saw Olivia was participating in the chat. And I'm going to be using a chisel tip marker. So this is a black marker. It is not bullet pointed. You can see it has that chisel tipped, which means you can get really sharp letters if that's what you're doing. And since I have been focused on calligraphy and lettering, I really like using chisel tipped markers. There's all different types of these, by the way, different sizes, different brands. This is a larger chisel than something like this pilot marker. You see similar size. When I uncap them, you can see the difference in the size of the ink nibs. So these felt nibs here. So you get different size letters, different effects when using different sizes. So for our purposes, I'll just use this one for now. And let's see how it goes. So I'll do a stylized. Oh. Then I'll do a capital A. So there you go. Could do some more embellishments on here. Maybe some things like this. Yeah, that's a longer version of traditional tag that you do very quickly, but it has kind of that calligraphy feel. Different style of that same name, let's say. Same thing, same way the label is, but I could do maybe something like that. Once again, name that I haven't written before, but if you wanted to, do a couple bubbles, however you want to do this, to really customize the stickers to your liking. And for our purposes, just to designate where the tag is, put some background color. You get something that would look like that. Then I've got all this white space. You could do shadows. You could write other things up here. you know, whatever you'd want to do. I could do the same on this one, adding those colors for the backgrounds. And there you go. So just a couple examples. Sure thing. Some letters are a lot easier for me to do just because of the names, the monikers that I've done over time. I see a love for S's and E's personally when I do these calligraphy or calligraphy styles, just because of the way that the letters kind of flow sometimes. So if anybody wants to give me another name or anything else, you know, totally free to do so. But I will do for inspiration of names or things that I could write. I'll just write star, S-T-A-R. So taking like a tag calligraphy approach, right? Make it look like it went off the page there a little bit. Maybe a little bit of embellishments towards the bottom just to fill some space. But yeah, and then if I wanted to, I'll grab that green marker over here. I'll throw some shading onto it. Oops. And again, these are your stickers, right? So you can customize them however you want. You can do lettering, you can do character design, you do whatever you want. But think about, you know, how to use your space, how to customize your letters, how you want to, you know, use this art form and then really make it your own. So I'll do. There you go. And yes, yeah, how the shading changes the piece, totally. So thinking about if you saw these two stickers right next to each other or on, you know, similar applications, this one might stand out just a little bit more than this one because of the inclusion of another color or something like that. Again, stickers, really cool use. I do have, I believe, some of those thermal labels here as well. Let me just rip that off. They come in longer tabs because they're being fed through a printer. But you can see how much bigger they are compared to the US Postal ones. You can see they are branded with a UPS logo and their text down here. But you can get these as well from different shipping locations. And you can see the size difference there between you know, a postal label and one that you might get that's a thermal label. So, you know, an artist could use this in a totally different way. They could do, you know, if I was doing like a complicated piece, you know, the piece could go across here. Let me do, just because we had it here, you know, I'll grab a different marker. Also different material. So this is more glossy, right? So you can see the Sharpie doesn't take to it necessarily as well as it might with the paper-based label. So for this, I'll use a different type of marker. I'll use a paint-based marker rather than an alcohol or an ink-based marker. So again, using different supplies, using different things, you can kind of figure this out on your own and see what really works best for you. So I'll just do some simple lettering here. Maybe some stuff like this. I'm making the S. Well, I'll give it a cool kind of body here. Bring this down, maybe give it like a little bit of a bridge. So you can see it's like an uppercase S. Then for the T, let's see, maybe a big fat bottom here, kind of going off. A little bit of weight to it for the T. And I'm not doing this with any outline, so forgive me if the letters aren't the best ever. Yeah, you could do it with pencil, you could do things in advance. Let's go like this for the A. Give it a wide leg. And then let's do a R over here. I'll give it kind of like a bridge. Let's do the capital R, maybe do the circle there. And then I'll give it a wide leg here to kind of use some of that space of the sticker. So you can see I've kind of lost some depth there. Maybe I'll throw some little breaks off the letters. Maybe I'll start doing some 3D. But again, you're using that sticker space. And if I wanted to, I could always cut this off. I could make it as custom as I wanted to. But yeah, so let's do some outlines on that. Outline there. Maybe bring this up. Yeah, however you want to do it. Just giving it a little bit of shape here. Goes up, that comes this way for the under of the T. Need some here, there, there. Not the best ever, but also not too bad for like 30 seconds or a minute, and no outlines. So not terrible for doing it live. You can see the ink starting to dry. This paint marker starting to dry on here as well. So there you go. And then you can start going in with your markers, right? So then you can color this in however many different ways you want. Maybe I'll leave it white and I'll do, let's see if I got any colors over here. You know, some accent colors, right? So I'll do some bubbles behind it. Let's see if the red marker looks okay. Is an alcohol-based marker? Yeah, it looks okay. We got about 2 minutes left, so let's see if I can do these bubbles really quick. Again, you know, use these labels, use them how you want, whether that's lettering or characters, and really think about where you're putting them, the audience that will be seeing them, and, you know, the styles and the artwork that you want to get out there. So thanks again for tuning in. I hope the introduction to this extremely niche part of the sticker subculture in Postal Labels was interesting. I find it incredibly interesting so much that Martha Cooper wrote a book about it. And a lot of people have done sticker shows like the one at the Fridge that you can visit this weekend on the 18th. So there you go. A couple bubbles, maybe throw some up here. And there you go. So quick little example of ways that you can use stickers. Thanks again for tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And I hope to see you again next week. All right. Good night, everybody.
My name is Assad Ultra Walker, and I am a graffiti artist. Ever since I was a little kid, I was always interested in graffiti from elementary school, and I'm an old person. So that was about 1974, 1975. About 80, 81, I started like hitting little tags here and there, but I didn't have a serious tag name. And I wasn't really serious about it until about 1982. I got real serious and started writing my name all over the city. That was when I got started. as I was growing up in Washington, D.C. in the late 70s, early 80s, we had a thing here called Go-Go Graffiti. Basically, guys like R.E. Randy, What's Up Woody, Lisa of the World, many other people were writing graffiti more related to a go-go culture. We didn't really know about hip-hop culture in DC at that time. It had not spread really beyond New York. We wrote in our own style. So some highlights in my career, you know, I got to paint in the Smithsonian back in the 2000s. I was picked as one of the up-and-coming figurative artists for this area. You know, I got to run a gallery for a year, and I still like to put on shows and put on events. To me, the highlights of my career are more when I get to interact with other artists, and those events really stand out to me. If there's a piece of advice I could give a young artist, you know, that there's not really rules in graffiti, and like, you know, I think you'll go far with like a kind of a do-it-yourself kind of ethic. That, you know, that's always been big in DC, and I think now with the internet and everything going on, that this, and particularly here in the pandemic, this is the time to like really go out and pick what you want to do, and how you want to market yourself, and how you want to market the things that you're doing, and really. The internet is a perfect instrument for you to not have to have a middleman between you and the public, and that goes for like if you're going to make merchandise, that goes for if you're going to go out and paint. So the internet is a great tool for you to run your own career, and you got to get organized and do it. So coming up, you know, I'm working with Word Beats in Life on a lot of projects. I'm very happy with this train project that we've just done, the train auction. I have a website, AsadUltraWalker.com, and you can also find me on Instagram under the same handle, Asad Ultra Walker. Ultra is my middle name.